Yeah, so we are live and waiting. Now, once we have some folks, we will tell them what this is all about today. So yeah, all right. Yeah, you can check the link yourself and see if everything is fine. I'm
It looks good. Yeah.
just also on the live, trying to see this. Hold on.
Yeah. Tomorrow we have Twitter Spaces, a Twitter Space interview with a Binance guy, like the Binance outreach guy. So
Oh,
that's gonna be really
that's
big for
pretty
us
cool.
too.
Nice. Still says offline though. I don't know. Oh, okay. We have someone on chat already. I think I'm on the wrong link because I'm so professional, of course. 1 second. Okay, it's live. Okay, it's working perfectly fine. Here it is. Okay, we have 30 people already. That's nice. All right. So, well, I guess 30 people is enough to start
Okay, I'm rushing.
start working here. Yeah, you can post all over, no problem. So yeah. Oh, okay. I was muted on the call, but I already kind of was saying a few things on the live. We have 50 people. Hello everyone. Hi guys. It's nice to see you here. I'm Alexandros. If you don't know me already, I'm today with the dev of Animalfarm. You can say hi to your community.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm posting the link and sharing it right now, so people should be joining as we go. But
Amazing.
I'm really excited to be here and talk about the project and talk about the launch in a couple days.
Perfect. So yeah, we will have a couple of questions. I mean, I have a couple of questions prepared myself. For those that will tune in later, I will also have a recap of the stream posted on my channel, so you guys can also like watch it from the beginning if you wish. Don't worry about that. And yeah, if you want, we can already start with the first question, which will be like super basic. So if
Yeah.
you're ready,
Cool.
then yeah. So first
Yep.
of all, obviously, you can tell me and the viewers what is Animalfarm. That's what we want to know. As for the
Yeah.
first.
So Animalfarm, just a basic breakdown of it, is the first decentralized ownership, yield aggregating, and lending protocol. So what this means is the platform allows you to stake tokens, various EVM based tokens. So this is on the Binance Smart Chain. So BUSD, BNB, Link, and various LP pairs. And our platform then lends that capital using completely trustless and decentralized contracts, immutable contracts, to PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap utilizes them to fill order books, back their native assets, and fees collected through this lending is paid out in the form of a BUSD dividend to stakers on our platform. So it's a model, uh, basically like the traditional yield farming model, but taking it to the next level because it's actually providing services that are generating profit through trading fees and through bridge swaps. So the decentralized ownership part comes from the fact that we have two assets on our platform. One is the native reward token that you get when you stake any non-native tokens on the platform, and this non-native reward token can be used to farm the governance token. And the governance token is what represents your share ownership of the platform. And um, depending on your share ownership of the platform, that is what dictates the amount of BUSD dividend that you're getting through the backend lending. You also get a 75% of all the deposit withdrawal fees on the platform, and there's a variable tax on the reward token, which is being swapped for BNB and BUSD, and also paying out to the governance holders. So all of the fees and taxes on the platform, which would typically go to the founders and developers of the platform, instead go to the governance holders. And I think that people that understand crypto and understand DeFi know that in all market conditions, there's one class that are always making money, relative if the price is going up and down, and that's the founders of innovative projects with real utility, and especially the first movers. So this is the first platform that allows the participants of the platform to earn as the owners of the platform. And then on top of that, the governance model also has a voting system where stakers of the governance token can also vote on roadmap proposals. And an example of what one of these roadmap proposals would be is 3% of the BUSD, which is generated through this backend lending, is going into a crowdfunding, crowd vesting model where the governance holders vote on where it gets staked, and then the profit generated from the stake gets paid out to the governance holders, based on their vote. There's also partnership vaults where projects can pair their token with our native token in order to earn the partner's token as a reward. And this is something that the governance voters will be voting on who we open up partner vaults with, and various future roadmap proposals like this. So they don't just get to earn as the owners; they also get a ability to decide future roadmap proposals as owners of the platform as well. So really, being a governance holder is like being on the board of a company, but in this case, it's not a company; it's a fully decentralized platform. So that is the main utility for Animal Farm is a platform that is allowing users to seamlessly and trustlessly lend capital to other major platforms, such as there's one bridge that we'll be utilizing shortly after launch for single asset staking, and the single assets that are staked on the platform will be lent to this bridge to allow for cross-chain swapping, and this generates fees, and these fees are the cash flow which is utilized to pay out the BUSD dividend to governance stakers, and also lending to PancakeSwap, where we earn an additional 30 to 40% APY, and that's coming from them using it to fill order books and collecting fees and backing their native asset cake. So we get paid cake from that. That cake gets swapped and paid out in BUSD, and the and that so we're providing real utility and real profit generating cash flows, which is how the user is profiting on our platform. And then we have a very unique incentive structure with the native reward token, which is called dogs, right? This is called Animal Farm, and we have dogs and pigs. And the native reward token has a unique vesting model where, instead of a traditional vesting model where tokens are staked and locked, and the user cannot access these vested tokens for a period of time. Instead, we're using a variable tax model. So there's no unlocking periods, which would be what you would get from a traditional vesting model. And the issue with vesting where it's locked and you have predictable unlocking periods is that the community and investors know, okay, in a month, a bunch of tokens will be unlocked on this day. And then the next month, a bunch of tokens will be unlocked in this day. And that creates an opportunity where insiders and, the people that are in it for short term, pump and dump uh, trading will try to front run that unlock and dump before all those tokens in circulation, which would be the smart thing to do. But in our model, there are no um, there are no dates where a bunch of tokens become unvested and unlocked and hit the circulating supply. Instead, all new reward tokens, all new dog tokens, whether they're bought, whether they're whether they're farmed or earned through pool staking or won in our dogs roulette game or sent to somebody, starts off with a 90% tax. So when you initially get your reward token, you would no one it would be very stupid to immediately just try to dump it or sell it on the market. Now, when you do sell this dog token, whatever tax is paid on it gets swapped for BNB and BUSD. One third of the tax gets swapped for BUSD, and that gets paid out to the governance stakers, and the other two-thirds get swapped for BNB, and that gets paid out to what we call our loyalty contract, which is the dog pound. And this dog pound staking is how you reduce the tax on your dogs. So when you get your dogs, you can stake them in the dog pound loyalty contract, and every day your tax on transacting dogs, on selling dogs, reduces by 1% a day. So this is how it acts like a vesting model where the longer you stake the tokens, the less you pay in tax when you sell them. And as your dog tokens are staked, you're earning BNB from all of the people that are selling dogs with the tax that is applied to it. So it's a vesting model that is preventing the reward tokens from hitting the market and hitting circulation, but not in a predictable way where people can front run, and in a way that actually creates an incentive structure where people are being rewarded for removing them from circulation, not just locking them on people. And as this tax is being reduced every day by 1%, people will have to make up their own mind when it makes sense for them to take profit on those dogs based on the price appreciation of dogs and the tax that they would need to pay on their current dog stake. So say they've been locked for 2 months in the dog pound in the loyalty contract. So they will have reduced their tax by 60%, and now they have to decide, is it worth me selling right now and paying a 30% tax on it? Uh, or should I continue to stay in the vesting contract and reduce the tax? And the reason why it may make sense to sell for 30% tax is because there's going to be very few dogs actually hitting the market and actually for sale due to the tax applied to it. So the price of dogs is designed to appreciate rapidly and have extreme price appreciation. So if the price of dogs has gone up 10x or 20x, it may make sense for someone to decide, okay, I want to sell dogs now. I'm paying a 30% tax, but I'm up 20x on my position. And when they do that, 30% of that capital from the tax that they just paid gets swapped for BNB and BUSD, two-thirds for BNB. That gets paid out to all the people in the dog pound who remained in there and didn't decide to unstake and sell, and the other one-third goes to the governance stakers. And the supply of the dog and the pig tokens is not blindly minted. Like if you look at these typical MasterChef contracts, or you look at Auto or Beefy or even Pancake Swap, they're all using traditional sushi swap contracts where they choose an amount of tokens that mint each block to pay out an APY, and the contracts just blindly mint that amount of tokens every block, no matter what the demand for the underlying assets are, no matter how well or poorly the token is performing, they just keep blindly minting, blindly inflating the supply. Whereas our model has something called a decentralized dynamic supply control algorithm. And this algorithm looks at the current demand for the underlying assets and the performance of our native assets and adjust the supply within a sustainable range to ensure optimal price performance. And what this looks like is when the token is at all-time highs and really is in high demand, the APY is at the high end and the emission rate is at the high end of this sustainable range to have the highest APY possible. So those who are buying the token are heavily incentivized to stake it and farm and put it into pools. Whereas when the demand is lower, and the because we understand that no matter how well you design a platform or how well you design a game theory, all markets go through high demand and low demand cycles. So when we're in a low demand cycle, the supply control algorithm takes this into account and reduces the emission rate, which then restricts the supply and allows the current demand to have the optimal impact on the price. Because the two aspects which are dictating what your price is of course supply and demand. So when you have a high demand for an asset, you want to have the most incentive for people to remove those from circulation. So we do that by having a the emission rate at the high end of what's sustainable. And then when we're in a low demand cycle, that's when our supply control algorithm kicks in to restrict the supply, and now the token actually becomes deflationary because we have the tax applied to it, and both the dog and pig token, the reward and governance token, have a burning mechanism which is removing the tokens from supply. So when the demand, where we're in a low demand cycle, the supply control algorithm adjusts for this and allows the emission rate to be below the rate at which the tokens are being removed from supply from the burn mechanism. So we've taken the current yield farming, aggregating, and lending model and made several major innovations to improve it. And also, we took the lending model, which was previously only uh, being done through centralized and not trustless, not immutable protocols. So all the other lending protocols have some sort of centralized entity which is making decisions in it, and and we know that this causes risk, and we just saw some of this risk with projects like uh, Celsius and all of these other projects, which were utilizing centralized models that were not trustless, that were custodial. And when I say custodial, that means that the platform can access user capital. In Animal Farm, there is no way for the developers or anybody to access user capital except for the user that staked it. So when you have a non-custodial, trustless, and decentralized ownership lending protocol that is only lending to decentralized and trustless um, platforms such as PancakeSwap, you have a very low risk lending model that is actually providing cash flows and profit to justify the APY that's being paid out, and then a better incentive structure built on top of that to really optimize price performance of the native assets on our platform. I know that was a lot, but those are the main.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah,
introduction if you ask me. So
yeah. If you want to ask questions about any one part, or want me to break anything down, I'll be happy to do it. But I wanted to hit like the main few points of how we've made like a major innovation on what the current model is in the space.
sure.
So
We have one from Emmett and we have one from Colin. He's asking, is it 1% of BUSD that goes to Pigpen rewards used to buy dripping faucet? I don't know if I correctly
okay,
understand it or.
yeah. So I understand that question.
Okay, cool.
So 100% of all the taxes and all of the fees associated with depositing and withdrawing from the platform go to either adding liquidity to the dogs token or paying out the pig pen. So when you deposit into a farm or you deposit to a pool, the farms have a 4% fee for depositing, and that's well, it's split. It's a 2% deposit, 2% withdrawal fee for getting into farms, and for using pools, it's a 3% deposit, 3% withdrawal. 75% of those fees get swapped for BUSD and paid out to the pig pen. The pig pen is the governance staking model. So you earn as the owner of the platform. So you're the one collecting the fees associated with the platform. The other 25% gets swapped for BUSD and added to what we call our liquidity helper contract. And what this contract does is once the BUSD in the contract hits a threshold, which is pretty low, about $500, so every time it hits this threshold of over $500, that BUSD is then used to buy dogs, and half the capital, so it uses half the BUSD to buy dogs, and then pairs the rest of the BUSD with the dogs, and then adds and locks that liquidity. So it's a continuous cash flow, which can only add buy pressure to the dog token, and it's buying and locking the liquidity, creating a deeper, more decentralized locked liquidity pool, which is raising the price of dogs every time someone does a deposit or withdrawal. And the only farm or pool which is not doing this is the drip BUSD pool. And this drip BUSD pool or farm has a 1% deposit, 1% withdrawal tax. And what this is doing is when you deposit drip USD, it's taking the tax and it's sending it to what we call our faucet contract, and that's just a drip staking contract. So it's sending the drip to this faucet contract to be used as rewards for staking drip on our other platform. So that's what he was asking about. And that's the answer to that. So 1% deposit, 1% withdrawal on the drip BUSD pool is going towards the drip platform. Other than that, all of the deposit, all of the withdrawal fees either get paid out to the pig pen as a governance owner, or it goes to the or it goes to adding liquidity, buying and adding liquidity to dogs.
Perfect. Okay. Nice. Well, I didn't understand it at first, but well, after you explained it, I also get it now. That's really really nice. Okay. So by the way, I wanted to thank everyone for the likes. We have 1,000 likes. It is just quite incredible.
Yeah. Awesome,
Just
guys, for sure. Make sure everybody you subscribe and you like, because he's really helped us. We had a major impact when he did his first promo, and we're gonna continue to come on here and continue to work with him. So he'll be putting out really good info on our
I'm
project. So
really glad
be
about
sure to
that.
follow him.
Like, I really appreciate it. 3,000 people, by the way, guys. Well,
Great.
I said that it will get kind of busy later on.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say again, for those that tuned in, like, I don't know, a few minutes ago, there will be a whole video from this, whole recap of the live stream. So if you guys haven't watched from the beginning, then in an hour or so, there will be a recap published. Anyways, we have one more question from that I noticed. Obviously, there is more from Emmett, and he's asking, can you speak on the different partnerships Animalfarm has?
Yeah. So with Animalfarm, the way that we are establishing partnerships is through something we call our partnership vault. And the partnership vault is a way that users can stake our native tokens, so our reward token or our governance token, uh, paired with our partners token, and then when they stake this in the partnership vault, they're earning the partners token. So it's a way that we can reward people for removing more of our tokens from circulation without adding more of our tokens to supply. We're paying out the reward in the partners token. And the reason why the partner would want to provide some percentage of their supply is because they're going to get a ton of exposure to our audience. So they'll get it's a major cross promotion for them to do that, but also it gives them a very deep locked liquidity pool right away because they're pairing it with our native tokens, which has tens of millions and likely hundreds of millions once we launch worth of liquidity. So that's a major utility for anybody that decides to partner with us. Now, we have a model called Scratchy, which is a product that's coming out in December. And that is the first decentralized scratch ticket model. And the way it works is it's a white label service that virtually anybody can use, but we're going to start with a few really good platforms who are already lined up, ready to go. One of them is a NFT platform that's been around since 2018. We have Chainlink on board. So Chainlink is they like to call it integrations, but I'll respect the way they like to word it as an integration and not a partnership. But we have a full cross promotion. Well, they'll be promoting us on all their social media. We're utilizing their tools on our platform. They're going to be promoting anybody that utilizes our product because we're utilizing their VRF and their keeper products in an innovative way that no one else has used before, and in a way that's going to bring in hundreds of thousands of new users. So they're very excited about this, and that's one of I don't want to say partnership because I want to respect the way that they like to use their terminology because they never say they partner with anybody, but a full integration with them, and the Scratchy model has a 15% buyback for any platform that utilizes the tickets, the white label service, and these 15% buybacks of whatever asset uses the service can be used as a reward model. And the first 5 projects that we have already established will be utilizing the white label service when it goes live want to use that 15% that is being bought back as a reward in the partnership vaults. So, uh, so far, essentially every platform that has agreed to want to use Scratchy as a white label service wants to have a partnership vault. So, uh, some I cannot speak to exactly who these projects are before it goes live because I don't want to it needs to be promoted properly. So uh when the partnership is ready to go, when we're prepared for it to go live, we're going to have a coordinated promotion of it where it will be announced by both platforms, and we'll do it like that. So I don't want to I don't want to leak who they are until we're both ready to announce it and do a co-promotion at the same time, right? So um but there's a bunch of platforms that are ready to go with it, including several online casinos, including some blue chip NFT platforms, um, and then of course all of the other platforms that I've developed. So Drip, the Reap DAO, uh, will be having uh, integration on our platform through the Drip USD pool, uh, through raises, exclusive raises in the Reap DAO. And then if you see who we are partnering with for promotion specifically, we have some really good partners from a promotional aspect, including Bitcoin.com, Yahoo Finance, BSC News, CoinGate, Be in Crypto, Dex Tools. Tomorrow we have a uh, Twitter Spaces with a very high up Binance affiliate who has like over 500,000 followers on Twitter. That's going to be really big. I plan to share exactly who that will be when I get off of this call. So right now, our main partnership focus is with major promoters in the space. Bitcoin.com, BSC Scan. So we're working with all of them for promotion. That's why we have banner ads with them. We have articles coming out from them. We have press releases coming out from them. And from like a technical perspective, our partnerships for the partnership vaults and for Scratchy, we have a handful of very solid platforms, including Chainlink and including some blue chip platforms on BSC. But I want to wait until, let's say 2 weeks to a month before the vaults are added to announce them, so we could properly promote them. I, I've had we've had situations before. For example, there's a major casino that we were going to do a partnership with, and we spoke about it publicly, and then everybody went into their all of their social media and was celebrating it, and as they would, right, as you would expect them to do. And it kind of turned the partner off a bit because they felt like, oh, there's all this promotion of your project in our all of our social medias now, and we haven't even announced the partnership yet. So I just want to be very careful about not announcing partners until we're both prepared to announce it at once, and we don't want to start the partnership vaults uh, until 2 months after it goes live, because we're gonna start the partnership vaults with Scratchy. So that's that's kind of the long answer. True, we have a bunch of partners right now from a promotional and a marketing perspective, and then the DeFi platform partnerships will be coming in December, and I don't want to leak any of them until we're both ready to co-promote it together.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Lesson learned.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, cool. So, well, we have quite a lot of community questions, but I hope that you guys will be fine if I ask one of my own. I wanted to touch on safety. Like, I mean, obviously it is important. You have the audit. I see it has been done by Paladin, right? So it's quite a good
yeah.
audit as well. Just few words. Doesn't need to be long. Just speak about safety for a second, and we'll move on into the next ones.
Yeah, so we we have launched Animal Farm in a series of layers. So we had layer one, which was called Manor Farm, and Manor Farm was a more of a traditional yield farm platform where people staked to earn a token called Rev token. We called it our Revolution token, and this Revolution token was swapped for the governance token. So we essentially created the Manor Farm, and then we decentralized the ownership of it by passing the ownership of it to Rev holders in the form of the Animal Farm governance token. So the Paladin audit was specifically on the first layer of Animal Farm, and that covers a ton of the contracts that are on layer two. So the most of the Master Chef, actually all of the Master Chef contracts, the pig pen, uh, the liquidity helper, all of that stuff has been audited by Paladin. We also have an open source audit that we used, and this is very important to us because there have been plenty of times where Certic, or actually, I probably shouldn't name these auditing companies, but there's been plenty of times where auditing companies have done audits and they were not quality audits, and the project was insecure, and they were things that the auditing company should have picked up. And since their audits are largely closed source as far as the scripts that they're utilizing to audit and their process. That's mostly like a black box closed source process that they do. It was important to us that we used an open source audit. So we used an audit a suite of auditing scripts as well called Slither, which anybody can access on GitHub. And as long as you can run a Python script, you can run this audit yourself and go through all of the contracts and verify your audit report with our audit report and ensure for yourself without needing to rely on any centralized uh, auditors or without needing to rely on me or anybody else telling you the different functions in the contract and how they work and basic stuff like if there's underflow issues, like all of the stuff, logical issues, you could check yourself. And that was important to us. And of course, to be able to do this kind of audit, all of the contracts need to be open source. So that's another thing we're doing. The project, the day of launch, we will start making these contracts one by one open source. So people will be able to see all of the functions that not only they can call publicly, but all of the private functions. They will find out that we have no special permissions in the contracts other than a blacklisting function. So that's the only special function that we have as the developers, and the reason why we have a blacklisting function is just for our anti-bot protocol that we have in place for launch to ensure that, and we're starting with very high liquidity. Like we're starting with something like $27 million liquidity for the dogs token. So botting is not going to be a big issue. Like someone would have to bot it, with $27 million to do a to 2x it. So that's it's, but still, just for security reasons, we have this blacklist function in place to to ensure that we have some sort of backup, where if it is botted or there is something unexpected happens, we could blacklist those tokens before they hit the market. And of course, the beauty of the dog token is even if they got a ton of tokens right away through some sort of vulnerability, there would be a 90% tax on them immediately. So if they were to sell them, 90% of that value would get swapped for BNB and BUSD and paid out to the dog stakers and the governance holders. So we have multiple layers like that of security to ensure that, first of all, we're heavily audited. We've done so many testing. I had the initial developer that me and him developed all of these contracts, and then I hired a independent developer who is a very skilled dev, both a front end and a Solidity dev, to come in and do his own independent testing of all of our contracts. So go over all of the code, set up test environments on a side chain to do thousands and millions of transactions to trigger all of the different functionalities to, because sometimes if you're the developer and you're the person that worked on all of it, you could be too close to see an issue that is maybe right in front of your face. So this is why we had third-party developers come in after it was finished that had nothing to do with developing and run all of their own tests. Then, of course, we had the centralized audit with Paladin. We have the open source audit with Slither, and I brought in someone that does technical audits for publicly traded companies in finance, and this they are held to even greater standard as far as from a regulation standpoint and from a performance standpoint. There's certain things that you need to do when you get these audits, and we had him go over all of the contracts as well. So security is extremely important to me. I recognize the value of everybody's capital. This is not. I don't see people that are invested in my projects as wallets. I recognize these are people with families. They have kids. They have responsibilities. They've worked very hard for their money, and we're very, very cognizant of that. And we've gone above and beyond to do our testing and to do our audits. Now, the the project is fully decentralized. Uh, all of the important values are immutable, which means we cannot change them after the fact. And this blacklist function has the ability to be burned. So when we get out of the launch phase, we will then be essentially burning our ability to blacklist, because at that point we we have no need for it. So you're not going to find a higher level of security in DeFi than what we're bringing to the table here.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, it was short enough. It was short enough.
There's a
um,
lot there. I mean, there's a lot of information. So
no, that's good. I totally like it. People on the chat
yeah,
are also going nuts. I love you guys. You are amazing. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. So there was a question: when can we buy AFD? I guess it's on the launch, right? Or if you could
yeah.
correct me.
So on we plan on launching at noon on the 18th. So at noon on the 18th, the dog token will launch and the farms and pools will be open for deposit. People will be able to start depositing. And 30 minutes after that, that's when the rewards start paying out for the farms and pools. You can buy the governance token, Animal Farm Picks, now, and you're going to want to buy it now before the farm starts because as soon as people start depositing and start getting into the farms and pools, the fees are going to be paid out to the pig pen. So right now there are some products on Animal Farm that are paying out BUSD and paying out pigs to the pig pen based on fees associated with them. But the main cash flow to the pig pen is coming from the back end lending, which doesn't start until the 18th, from the tax on the dog token, which doesn't go live till the 18th, and from the deposit and withdrawal fees on the platform, which doesn't start till the 18th. So you want to be in the pig pen before it goes live on the 18th. So as soon as those things start happening, you're profiting from it. You don't want to wait until after it goes live to get that position because you're going to miss the wave of capital that gets paid out on launch. But just say one more thing about that, it's a the BUSD that's being paid out to the pig pen is, and actually the dog pound is using a time weighted reward model. So 30% of the BUSD, which is generated through deposit withdrawal fees, gets immediately paid out to the pig pen as soon as that deposit withdrawal happens. The other 70% goes into a vault contract that pays out 3% of its balance daily. So this is to ensure there is incentive to be there at launch because it's going to be a large spike of BUSD and BNB paid out, but it's not going to be a scenario where we have a big spike at launch when a bunch of people are doing deposit and then the BUSD that's being paid out dies down because 70% of it is going to a vault that pays out 3% of its balance daily. So the longer you stay in there, the more rewards you're going to get. And the BUSD, which is generated through the backend lending, won't start being paid out until a couple days after launch. So you want to be in there before launch, and you want to stay in there to really benefit. And then also, the lending is taking place for the non-native tokens. So the non-native token staking in the farms and pools, you earn the dog token, the dog reward token. So if you stake, say, Link BNB LPs, or you stake BNB or BUSD or whatever, any of the non-native tokens, you're gonna earn the dog token, which is the reward token. Now, that capital which is staked, the BUSD, the Link BNB LP, that gets lent out to PancakeSwap, where it earns an additional 30 to 40% APY. That 30 to 40% APY gets paid out in the pig pen. So if you're not taking your dog tokens and either pairing them with BNB or BUSD to earn pigs, so you can stake them in the pig pen, or just outright buying pigs, or putting the dogs in the auto compounding dog pound, which takes the BNB that you're earning, buys dogs with them, pairs it into the dogs BNB Master Chef to earn pigs. If you're not doing this, then that extra 30 to 40% APY that you're earning through the back end lending, you're leaving that on the table. That's going to be collected by the people that are in the pig pen. So this is another major incentive for people to take the dogs that they're earning and utilize them to farm the governance token rather than just selling them on the market, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to access the capital that's being generated from your tokens, which are being lent to PancakeSwap. And also, there's the tax associated with selling dogs, which starts out at 90%. So, uh, the whole platform is designed to allow people and to incentivize people to take their profit in the form of BNB or BUSD rather than selling the tokens on the market. Because if you sell your tokens on the market, you're going to be leaving a ton of capital on the table, which is going to be paid out to the people who are collecting their reward in the form of BNB and BUSD. And I always say that the way that you build wealth in these markets is not by being a short-term holder and not from trying to do speculative trading. We know that over 90% of investors that try short-term speculative trading lose money. The people who build wealth in these markets and in markets in general are the people who are buying into solid projects with fundamentals, holding on to them long term, and taking their profit through dividends and through low risk leverage. So even if we talk about the stock market, right? The way that the optimal way you're going to build wealth in the stock market and the way that the super wealthy build wealth is by getting into uh, solid fundamental companies, such, let's use IBM, for example, holding on to these IBM assets, collecting the dividend on it, taking 3 to 5% of that dividend as profit secured. So that's what goes into their pocket, they use for whatever. And the other 90%, 97% goes back to buying more IBM stock to increase their assets, to increase their portfolio. So every time you collect your dividend, your asset portfolio is getting larger. The dividend that you're able to collect with the next distribution is larger, and you're accumulating solid assets. And then leveraging those assets through low risk lending or through pulling equity out of it, which is a way that you do lending in traditional markets. In our case, you're doing it through the lending to PancakeSwap. Really, our platform is designed to incentivize people to use a strategy that is a proven strategy to build wealth, and it's the only DeFi platform that allows you to secure a profit without ever needing to sell your underlying assets. And that's why it's designed to be the greatest price performing yield generating assets, because you don't need to sell them to secure a profit. Plus, you're heavily disincentivized from selling them. We have the supply control algorithm, which restricts the supply in times of low demand. And the BNB and BUSD that is being earned can be auto compounded, which is adding a consistent cash flow to the governance and reward token. And on top of that, we're the only yield farm which is actually providing value that is generating real cash flow and profit from services. So providing capital to PancakeSwap for order books, which collects fees. We're going to go live shortly after launch with a lending model to a bridge, which is going to allow people to do cross-chain swaps, and we're going to collect fees from that for the single asset staking. So, that's a long-winded thing, but that's the answer.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah,
No, good
I
answer
know.
though. Okay. So I need to choose actually which one I want to go first. No, before we jump into the next question, I just wanted to show you, because we were talking about buying the AFP. If you guys don't know how to do it, it is like super simple. As you can see, I'm on the website, obviously. So you have swap here, which is like inside build feature, and you can swap here. So you can just go whatever BUSD you want
Yeah.
and buy pigs here. That's the one way to do it. Then also another thing that you can do is go to CoinMarketCap, copy this contract address, right? Copy it, go to your PancakeSwap, hit this one, boom, paste the address, and then you can just simply go and get yourself some AFP here. Okay, so
Yeah. And
Um,
when you're buying
yeah.
off the site, you're buying from the Pancake Swap liquidity pool. It's
Yeah,
just a
so
way to make
it
it
is
easier for the
essentially the
user.
same, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever you guys prefer, really. But yeah, it works pretty much the same. Okay, so let me have a look because I have a couple of them here on my phone, but I need to find them. Which one do we start with? There is one question from Aaron. So when dogs are earned in farms, 90% tax applies to all new dogs earned? This is the question.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, and it acts as a vesting model. So you can look at other platforms that have a vesting model, and the way it works is they're locking up your tokens. So if you when you think about the 90% tax that it starts with, think about it as effectively those tokens are locked. They're not actually locked, but of course you don't want to sell with the 90% tax. So um that is what the functionality of it is doing is it's heavily disincentivizing people from selling the dog rewards as soon as they get them. But when you stake the dogs in the dog pound, that tax is reduced by 1% a day. And 2/3 of all the tax that is applied to dogs is swapped for B&B and paid out to people in the governance or sorry, in the loyalty dog pound contract. So as your tax is reduced every day, you're getting paid in B&B uh, from the people that are selling with the tax applied. And just to speak to the tax, the loyalty system, there is a token loyalty score and a wallet loyalty score. And the token loyalty score is relative to a specific amount of tokens you have staked. So you stake 1,000 tokens, and you're reducing the tax on those 1,000 tokens by 1% a day if you get into the auto compounding dog pound. Now, there's also a wallet loyalty score. And the way this wallet loyalty score works is every month that you're in the dog pound, your tax on all future dogs that you get is reduced by 2%. And this makes it so every user who stakes is being rewarded for their loyalty, not just relative to a specific amount of token stakes, but also the long term user. So, someone that just got into the project, they're going to have a tax of 90% and they can reduce it at 1% a day. But say someone that's been using the dog pound and using the platform for 2 years or for a year and a half, something like that, they're going to build up their wallet loyalty score, which caps out their tax reduction at 30%. So that means they start at a 60% tax. And this is so you're not just being rewarded for your short term loyalty to the system, also the long term investors, the people with the long term vision that are in there for a long time, are also having their loyalty recognized in an additional way. So the 90% tax is for new users and people that are immediate, but as you use the platform month after month, that gets reduced down to a starting tax of 60%. And just I would look at it from the perspective of it's a vesting model, but it's a vesting model with an incentive structure that doesn't just lock up people's tokens, but it rewards people for removing their tokens from circulation, and it doesn't have any predictable unlocking times. Where say we had a vesting system where it was like once a month you get 20% of your tokens unlocked, then everybody would know, okay, we're going to launch on this day. Everybody's going to get their tokens on this day. In 1 month, everybody's going to get 20% of their tokens unlocked. So if everybody knows that, the day before, there'll be a major dump. So that's why we're not using this traditional vesting model. With our model, everybody's tax is reducing at a different rate, and everybody needs to make up their own decision when it makes sense for them to sell and take some profit. And for a lot of people, it won't make sense for them to sell at all because why sell when you can continue to accumulate your assets and take your profit in the form of a BNB and BUSD dividend?
Okay. Well, there is also a question about the dogs. So essentially, people are asking after the launch, right? Where can
Yep.
you buy them? Like it will be PancakeSwap or something
Yeah.
else. Okay.
So it'll be PancakeSwap. There's no tax applied to buying dogs. So you could buy dogs on PancakeSwap. You could buy dogs on our website, same as with pigs. And
Okay.
dog token, there's no tax on buying. There's no tax on using any of our contracts, like staking them. We have a dogs roulette game, which is going to go live a couple weeks after launch. You can play the dogs roulette game. You can farm with them. You can add liquidity. All of these things are tax free, but
Cool.
only when you're selling the dogs, or if you're transacting them to a non-whitelisted wallet. So some people have asked, and this is an important question to get to: what if I just want to send my dogs to like a treasure, or what if I want to send them to another wallet that's mine? You can do this. What you need to do is pair them, so add liquidity to them, and then you can transact those LP tokens with no tax. And but of course, when you go to actually sell those dogs, the tax will be applied. So that's the way you kind of get around that, just to be able to transact the dogs around.
Okay, makes sense. Well, so that's how it works. Sorry, I was just showing them communities. That's why I'm dizzy. All right. Anyways, I
If
have.
you see, we've had 342,000 entries into our contest. So
Yeah, I
that's
actually wanted to
massive.
touch on that too. Like,
Yeah,
if people can still participate, and if they can, then
absolutely.
how? So
Yeah.
if you could just say that
Okay.
also.
Yeah. So if you go to animalfarm.app, you will see at the top right there is a giveaway. Now, we're not giving away pigs or dogs. We never pay for marketing in our native assets, and we never give like contest prizes in our native assets, because that is just going to cause sell pressure. If we were to pay for marketing, say we paid for an interview in pigs, then inevitably those pigs will be sold, because the people that are doing marketing, they need to make or what the typical thing that we see is they sell those tokens that they're getting from marketing. So we always pay for everything in either BUSD and BNB, and that's the same for this contest. So if you get to this contest, you need to do various tasks, and every task you do uh, is acts like a raffle ticket. So you could follow our social media accounts, you could join our Telegram group, you can retweet one of our tweets. There's various things you can do, and every action you take acts as a ticket, which goes into the raffle, which will give you a chance to win $5,000. And one person will be able to win $5,000. One of the things that you need to do is put in a valid BSC address. So one of these BSC addresses will be chosen to give out this BUSD reward, and it's going to go. There's 2 days left. So the day of launch, we're going to choose the winner, and this will not be the only contest. After this, we're going to start a new one, but this is the launch contest. So as you can see, there's 342,000 entries, and we're using a proprietary software to be able to do this, which is actually validating the different social media accounts. It's validating that people have actually joined the Telegram and all of these, so these are legitimate entries. And that means we have hundreds of thousands of people who have been exposed to the project and have joined our various social media groups, or have been exposed to our various social media groups, and that's just a small percentage of the people who are already involved in our community. So when we go live, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people ready to get to participate. And we all know, whenever you have a major project like this, there's some small percentage who are the smart money and who do their research and get in before launch. But there's also going to be a massive amount of people who just find out about the project at launch, who are waiting for launch because they don't understand how it works to get in. And then there's going to be a contingency of big capital that are going to wait for it to go live to kind of see, okay, like, does the launch go smooth? Uh, does everything working? Okay, now I'm gonna put my, whatever, $20 million into it or whatever. So we're gonna see a major move on launch. Like that's undeniable.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You guys still have 2 days left for the competition if you're interested. So yeah, $5,000 is $5,000. So I guess it's worth trying.
Yeah.
There is a question regarding the roulette. Will it be paying out in BNB or in the USD? I assume it's not in pigs, right? Or it would be?
No, it's the dogs roulette game, so it pays out in dogs. But the way
Oh,
it
okay.
works, the way it works is uh it's a roulette game, like a Russian roulette game, right, where you have a 1 in 6 chance of winning the prize, and you buy in with BUSD. So you could buy uh one bullet with dogs, but to buy additional bullets, and you get to buy bullets at a discount with BUSD. So what it's doing is it's adding buy pressure to dogs. So when you buy into the game, you buy bullets with BUSD. Those BUSD buy dogs, and those dogs go into a reward vault. And now you have a 1 in 6 chance to winning the prize. And we're using Chainlink to randomize it and to ensure it's trustless. So everybody can check, it's open source and trustless, utilizing Chainlink VRF service. And when you hit it, when you hit that 1 in 6 chance, 40% of the dogs which are in this reward vault get paid out to you, and and 30% get burned, 30% go to the person who wins, and 30% goes to the jackpot treasury to continue to increase the jackpot with each round. And what this is doing is it's adding more buy pressure to dogs because you need to buy into it with BUSD, and it's burning and locking up more dogs that it's paying out. So this is why it's positive for the dog's price, while also being attractive as a game, because the person who wins, they still win a good amount of dogs. Like, it's still definitely worth doing. You're gonna win more dogs than the BUSD that you put in, but more dogs is being burnt and locked up than it pays out. So it's positive for the price of dogs. And then, of course, any dogs that are won has this vesting model on it right away anyway. So they can't just be dumped on the market.
Okay. Uh, we will do like three more or two more, and then I will also give you like few minutes to say something if you will be interested in that. We are
Yeah,
already over an hour, but that's totally cool because we still have some people asking some things, so we should definitely clarify those.
yeah.
So yeah, again, wondering where to start because there is a lot.
Yeah, and
Um,
people could go to the Telegram group, and there's people that will answer your questions in there when we get off of this as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, guys. So if you have any questions, just feel free to also hit them up on the TG. We have Anmol. He's asking this for a third time, so this is important actually. So
Yep.
he's saying I have dog LPs. Not sure how it works with those, because I'll pay tax on breaking and selling. I think need to clarify this if possible. I don't know
Okay.
if you want
Yeah.
me to copy that or oh you get it. Okay, cool.
No, I get it. So with so as I said, we did this in layers. So the reason why we're starting off with like $27 billion worth of liquidity is because this is the V2. This is the third layer, the third iteration of Animal Farm, where we're integrating all of these additional utilities, like the lending, like the loyalty model, like the liquidity helper, which is doing the buyback. So we added in all of this additional functionality and utility in this model. And the reason why we had to do a uh, a layer one before we could do this is to have a giant reward pool for people to be incentivized to get into the dog pound. So there's already $27 million worth of B&B in the dog's liquidity contract, which means there's $27 million worth of B&B that could be paid out to the dog pound if people were to sell. So this is a massive head start that we're going with to ensure that the game theory is like extremely powerful from day one. And the people who held the initial dog token, they had a choice to be credited either in single asset dogs. If they had single asset dogs initially, they were credited single asset dogs. If they had LPs, they were given the decision to either claim your LPs or to get credited in single asset dogs. And if you got credited single asset dogs, you would get the same USD value of your LPs, and the LPs would get burned. So that would lock more liquidity. And the vast majority of people decided to go with single asset dogs because you have more options there. You could pair it with BNB or BUSD and get into the V2 farms to earn pigs. You could put them in the dog pound. You can play the dogs roulette game with them. There's way more options if you got single asset dogs. If you decide to credit yourself in LPs, they went into a vesting contract where they're earning 30% APY on it, and it's unlocked over a period of 50 days. And when you unlock that, when they become unlocked for you, you can decide to either unpair them, which will cost you a 6% fee, and the 6% fee is burning 3% of it, 3% of the dogs, and the other 3% is uh, swapped for BNB and BUSD and paid out the ways that I already said. Or you could take those LPs and put them right into the farm and the V2 farms and start farming pigs with them. So his question about what do I do with LPs, they'll be taxed or whatever. I mean, you don't have to unpair them to use any of the products on the platform. You can put them into the Master Chef, the I don't know if you have dogs BNB or dogs BUSD, but either way, you can put them in there and start utilizing them. If you do want to unpair them, then you can, and there's a 6% fee on doing that, and that's your decision. So, like the question, I don't know if the question really made sense. Like he's saying, I have LPs, I have to pay out a fee on them. Uh, what am I supposed to do or something? I guess was his question.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is you can do whatever you want with them. You can farm with them. You can decide to unpair them. It's up to you. You unpair them. It's a 6% fee. You put them in the farms. You can do that right away as soon as they become invested for you, and then you're earning pigs with them. So it's up to you. And anybody who has LPs, they made the decision to get LPs. They had a choice. You could either claim your LPs or get credited single asset dogs. So it was your decision to do that, and it was a good decision. I think either way, it's a good decision. Uh, I thought I basically made my opinion clear that I thought getting rewarded or credited in the single asset made more sense because you have more options. But uh, either way, he had the option to do that. So
Yeah,
he can
totally.
do whatever he wants.
I mean, yeah, I think he got it because he said that he loves you. So yeah,
Okay,
I think it's
awesome.
good enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have another one. There is actually a bunch of people asking about this one. I think it's a good question.
yeah,
So hold on, where it is. It is regarding the drip and the AF, of course.
yeah.
So I'm trying to find it. Can Forex explain how drip will be affected by AF and will it
Y-
even be
Yeah.
affected? Yeah, that's what he asked.
Okay, so there's only 3 farms where you can earn the pig token, and that is the dog BNB, dog BUSD, and drip BUSD pool. So it's being treated as a native farm on the platform. And I can't tell the future, but I do know what happened with the launch of Banner Farm and V1. And what happened there was a so there's very few drip in circulation, and that's because in order to earn a dividend drip, you have to lock up your principal, and then people get paid out 1% a day on this principal, and the majority of people compound that back into their principal. Some small percentage decide that they want to sell it, but those people tend to just sell as soon as they get it. So there's very few drip that's just sitting in people's wallets. It's something like less than 8% of the drip supply is just sitting in people's wallets. So uh, with V1, what we saw is a small percentage of people took half of the drip that they had, sold it for BUSD, paired it with BUSD, and put it into the farm. And this caused like a 10-15% correction in drip right before launch. But then, because of the additional utility and the additional incentive to buy drip and get into this farm, we had a massive appreciation in price, and drip did 3x within the first month of launch. So if I was just to look at what is likely to happen, uh, based on what happened previously, there's a chance we could have a tiny correction right before launch and then a big appreciation in price after launch, or potentially people will be smart this time and say, why would I sell right before launch to pair it if I know it's about to do 3x? I should probably sell something else to make that, to get that BUSD to pair it, or just put more capital in to pair it. But not only are we providing new utility for drip in this animal farm, we also have a new UI which is coming out for drip very shortly after the animal farm launch in November, because Scratchy, which is the first decentralized scratch ticket protocol, which I would love to come back on and talk about, exclusively, uh, is a white label service that's going to be utilized first in drip and animal farm. And I want drip to have a new UI, a really new attractive UI for when Scratchy comes out in December. So we're gonna have a new UI for drip in November. Then Scratchy is gonna come out, and then I have two new products that I want to launch specifically for the drip platform. Uh, early next year, like in the first month or two of next year. And then let me just uh, let me just give you the long term vision for Animal Farm, or maybe I should just save it till the end if you got like one or two questions. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll write it down.
Okay, cool. Actually, you replied to one, like, you are leading in my mind. I don't know how you do that, but someone was asking about the UI as well, if there will be any new ones. So you already said that there will be, so that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, I'm scrolling through the chat, looking for something cool to ask.
Yeah, maybe we do one more just to respect your time, and then I'll wrap it up.
Okay, cool. Absolutely. Whatever you want.
I could be here all day,
Yeah.
so
I know, man. I know.
yeah.
Yeah, you are a legend.
Thank you, brother.
By the way, I just got an info that we had 10,000 viewers in the peak, so that's
Wow.
quite insane. 7,000
Yeah,
likes.
that's one of our biggest live streams we've done, so I
It's
appreciate
my
that, man.
biggest, to be honest. So that's
Awesome.
incredible. Guys, if you
Yeah,
have, yeah, go.
that's what some of these influencers, right? When we've talked to them and we're trying to get promotion, uh we tell them that, look, like, if you do promotion with us, it's going to be massive for both of us, because most likely you're going to get the biggest viewers you've ever got, and we're going to get a great platform to do this on. So let's just collab together, right? That's the best way to do it, in
Yeah,
my
that's
opinion.
win-win essentially. So I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, that's a pretty good. Oh, we have 11,000. Okay.
awesome.
All
That's
right,
big.
all right, all right. That's cool, guys. If you have any, like, we will do last question, and then I will give Forex some like free time, like I don't know, 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
to also like talk about something. So you can write it down if you want to know something else, and we can get it done. But basically, people are just complimenting you.
Yeah, so we have a very strong community. I've been working in crypto since 2012. I started it in 2012. Basically, my buddy was working for a guy that ran a sports book in the U.S. At the time, sports book in the U.S. was kind of a gray area of legality. Like, you could do it, but there was all kinds of regulation around it. And they had a payment processor that they lost, and they were trying to figure out what they were going to do because they had no payment processor for their sports book,
Uh-huh.
and they knew I was someone that was into alternative finance and this stuff. So they came to me and asked me what they could do, and this is when I told them about Bitcoin, because I realized that Bitcoin was being utilized by another sports book, and I helped them create a Bitcoin payment processor for their sports book, and this was in 2012. And I've been working in the space since 2012, building up a community. It wasn't really until like 2016 that I actually started getting more on social media, and then I did a couple pre-sale raises, got kind of known through that, and started advising big projects like Trust Swap and MahaDAO and Rio and all these big projects. And then in 2020, I launched Reap, which was my first token, which is still up something like 700x or something. We're utilizing it as our DAO token now, so you have to hold 300 of them to get access to our private raises. And I believe that one of the reasons we've been able to maintain such a strong community is because we are not like other development teams where we develop something and then say 6 months later we decide to develop something else and we just kind of move on and leave the other project. Every single thing I've built has been somehow to improve the ecosystem as a whole. So I launched Reap Token. Reap Token was the first deflationary reflective reward token, and then I wanted to move over to BSC. So I wanted to do a pre-sale of BSC. So I used the Reap token uh, as a DAO model to give exclusive raise to Reap holders to B Reap, which we launched on BSC. And then I launched Drip. And in order to unlock team referral bonuses, you need to hold and utilize your B Reap. So that gave, and we did the Drip pre-sale raise in the Reap DAO. So that continued to build value for all of the assets in our ecosystem. And now I'm doing Animal Farm, which we did the pre-sale raise initially in the Reap DAO. It provides another utility for Drip in the form of yield aggregation, and whatever benefits Drip benefits B Reap, because in order to unlock team referral bonuses in Drip, you need to hold B Reap. So this is how we maintain support and continue to compound on each other, and every project we do just builds up all of them together, and it kind of raises all the ships. And I think the community appreciates that because uh, I never build something if I don't have a vision for it, years in the future, how we can continue to improve on it, continue to add value. Our drip garden game, which is something that we built like about a year ago, we have someone right now building a whole Unity uh, game for it. So currently, right now, you can use it as a viewer. A Unity game where you can walk around, you can see your garden growing, you can pick different characters like pigs and Zim characters, and do all these cool things in the game, a browser-based game. And very shortly, we're going to be adding more functionality to it as well to make it a more add more in-game functions, basically. So uh, I'm glad that the community appreciates that, and they clearly do. And this kind of speaks to what I'll talk about maybe after I answer this question about my vision for Animal Farm in the future.
Okay, cool. So, well, we will be wrapping this up in a second. Actually, hold on. Emmett said that the good idea might be to just ask you about the future of the project to end it off, but just before that, I mean, this will be like two combined. First of all, there is a last question from, how do I spell that? IBJO, I think. How often will there be Pigpen injections from Rehive protection? Once a month, once a quarter, or how it will work? And then you can also just add something from yourself, speak about the future about of the project, and we could end it off, I think.
Yeah. So what is likely going to happen is we are going to start with doing frequent injections, but then this is going to be one of the proposals that the governance holders will vote on. So this is what I'm talking about when I say that the stakers of the governance token will have a say in the future roadmap proposals of the platform and the some of the major functionality of the platform. So what we'll do is uh we'll have the community in general kind of give some suggestions, and then we'll take the top few suggestions. Me and my team will go over the logic of it, make sure that it makes sense, it's secure, it's not only good for current investors but also good for new investors and investors of the future. And then we'll come up with say 3 or 4 options, and then allow the governance holder to vote. And it will likely be something like once a week, once a month, once a quarter, right? But initially we're going to be doing them rather frequently because it's a good promo thing. It's good to say, hey, uh, we're about to inject, I don't know, $3 million into the pig pen, and these injections are coming from the lending to PancakeSwap. So the collateral, all of the tokens in the farm LPs get lent out to PancakeSwap, where they use it to make order books, to fill liquidity, to back their other products on their platform. We earn 30 to 40% APY from that, and that's 30-40% APY on top of what you're already earning in the farm. And then from that 30 to 40% APY, it gets swapped to BUSD, and that's how we uh, add additional value to the pig pen. So a large portion of that gets injected into the pig pen. So we just send it right to the pig pen. Uh, that's how we pay for marketing and future development as well. So if you think about other DeFi platforms, the founders and the developers, they're taking the deposit fee, they're taking the withdrawal fee, and they're taking a portion of the taxes that are applied to the token to pay for marketing, to pay for develop, to pay for all that stuff. And often what happens is they say they're going to do marketing, they say they're going to do all this stuff, but they end up pocketing the vast majority of the money, and that's user capital because it's coming from taxes that you had to pay. It's coming from fees that you had to pay. With Animal Farm, it's decentralized ownership where these fees and taxes, which would typically go to developers and founders, go to you, right, the participants, and we pay for marketing and we pay for our future development from a portion of the BUSD that's coming in from the lending. So this is why we never have to sell our native assets to pay for marketing. We never have to take any user capital from fees or taxes. It all goes to the user. And what one of the beautiful parts about this is we have a long-term vision for the project. So we are not trying to take a large portion for these things. We would rather take a tiny bit, but do it over a long period of time and really build up a user base. So have that tiny bit be very impactful. So if you look at what these other farms and pools or yield farms or lending platforms are charging, they're charging 4%, they're charging 6%, they're charging 5%, up to 10%. And what we're charging is 0.5%, around 0.5%. So the way that we collect our dev fee is we hold 10% of the pigs in the pig pen. So we have something called a founder manager contract. And this founder manager contract holds 10% of the pigs in the pig pen. And it's a locker contract, which means we can never withdraw those pigs. We can never access those pigs. So we can never sell them on the market. All we can do is collect the BUSD that we're earning from them. And since it's only 10% of the BUSD, which is going to the pig pen, which is something like 75% of the 4 to 6% fee, we're collecting like 0.4 or 0.6% fee on the platform, which is smaller than much smaller, like 10% of what any other platform is charging their investor base. But we're able to do that because we're getting our capital for marketing and future development from a portion of uh, the yield that we're generating from the back end lending. So this is very important to us. And we created the founder the founder staker contract to make sure the protocol is fully decentralized in the sense that we don't hold any tokens. We don't hold any native tokens, no dogs, no pigs, as developers or founders, other than what's in this founder staker contract, which we could never withdraw from. We don't. It doesn't even. The contract doesn't even have the ability to withdraw dogs, even if we. Oh, sorry, to withdraw pigs, even if we wanted to. We can only withdraw the BUSD, which is like 0.4% of the BUSD generated from the platform. Uh, so that's that's important to us, right? That it's decentralized, it's and the liquidity is deep and locked and not controlled by us, right? So it's a true community, true decentralized ownership project. And then for talking about the future of the platform, so I have a long-term vision for Animal Farm. What we have in the roadmap, which is already built, is uh, so on the 18th we go live with the major core contracts. Then a couple weeks after that, we open up the governance system where we start where we can start having votes on proposals such as the rehypothecation injection time periods, right? Then we have two games that we developed. One game is Dogs Roulette. The other game is called Dogs of Fortune. And Dogs of Fortune is a turn-based hacker simulation game. It's an extremely cool game, like nothing else that exists in DeFi. I would say it's a cross between Mafia Wars and Cookie Clicker because there's a passive element where you can passively uh play the game kind of like Cookie Clicker, but then there's also a turn-based element. And the idea of the game is that when you buy into the game, you get a character who's a hacker that launches a botnet, and then your job is to spread your botnet to various servers in game. And the more servers that you spread your botnet to, the more crypto that you're having those servers mine for you. And this is how you passively earn in the platform. But also, there's a whole other turn-based element of the game where you can recruit characters in the game from different hacker groups. When you recruit them, you get access to their hacker tools, which you can use to attack other players in the game, infect their servers, and basically take their money, take their servers from the game. And even the passive gameplay, you have to be somewhat active because you have to build up defenses. So you have to build up defenses to protect your servers so people don't come and steal your servers. And the whole UI of the game looks like an operating system. So you navigate the game by clicking on what looks like desktop icons, and also a terminal. And the marketplace of the game looks like a dark web market, and you're buying things like credentials, and you're buying stuff like DDoS attack software and firewalls, and it's just a really cool themed game that is going to be very fun. And we're going to launch that, and both of these are built. The dog roulette game, the contracts are 100% built, and the UI is 100% built. The Dogs of Fortune game, the contracts are 100% built. We're wrapping up the UI for it, right? Then we're gonna launch Scratchy, and we're gonna launch Scratchy in December. And Scratchy is the first decentralized scratch ticket model where platforms can utilize our white label service. Now they have scratch tickets on their platform that they can sell with their theming, with their branding. Each scratch ticket batch is 10,000 NFTs, and each NFT represents a scratch ticket that can be bought. And we're starting off the sale tickets for 1.1 or zero point 0.3 BNB, so you can buy it with like $20 to $60. And when you buy the ticket, it's unlike any kind of game or lottery on in DeFi. The closest thing to it is Pancake Swap Lottery. Pancake Swap Lottery is everybody buys the ticket. There's like a 24-hour waiting period, and then one winner is chosen, and the jackpot, based on the amount of tickets that were sold, gets paid out to that one person. Our model is light years ahead of this. So ours is a scratch ticket model. When you buy the ticket, you're buying an NFT, which is a scratch ticket that you can interact with on our dashboard, scratch it just like you would scratch a regular scratch ticket. If you get numbers that match, you can immediately claim your prize for that ticket. And 60% of all the BNB from the sale of tickets goes towards paying the prizes. 50% immediately goes out for prizes for that batch. 10% goes into a jackpot treasury where the person who is hosting the tickets decides how much of that BNB from the jackpot treasury goes to the jackpot for each round. That way they can increase it for, say they want to have a promo round, they just do a new partnership. They can make the tickets branded after that partnership and have a larger jackpot for that round. 15% of all the B&B that's used to buy the tickets for that match go to buying the native asset to whatever platform hosts the sale of tickets. So then it's creating buy pressure for their asset, and those tokens that it's buying back can either be burned, it can go to the developers as a cash flow, it can be used as a reward for people if they lock up their tokens. It's going to be used as a reward for our partnership vaults. That's how a lot of the rewards will come for our partnership vaults on Animal Farm. And uh, one of the coolest parts about it is the 10% of the B&B that's used to buy tickets goes to a revenue sharing model. So, in order to claim your prize for a ticket, you need to burn that NFT to claim the prize. Now, if you don't win a prize, you can stake the ticket, and now you're earning 10% of all the B&B that's being generated from the sales tickets on all platforms that are selling the tickets. And uh, there's all kinds of cool mechanics to ensure that this revenue sharing pool does not get diluted, right? You can only earn for so long for on a single ticket, and there's very cool mechanics that allow people to sell tickets on a secondary market. So, say you only want to buy the tickets to play the game, but you want to sell the tickets to someone that wants to stake it, or you only want to stake it for a period of time and then sell it. All of this is worked out with an extremely powerful game theory, and both in Animal Farm and in Scratchy, where we have innovative tech that we developed just for these two platforms that are absolutely going to be forked and copied because they're massive, right? We're doing things in ways that no one has ever done before that add so much more power. But at the end of the day, we have the first mover advantage. So when everybody copies us, they're going to be referring to us, and that's going to just give us more promo. Uh, After that, next year, right? So that's going to take us to December. Early next year, we're going to do two new products for Drip, right? And then my long term vision for Animal Farm is an insurance and individual lending model. So currently, we have a collateralized lending model, which allows us to lend to institutions. So we're starting off lending to PancakeSwap. A couple weeks after launch, and those are only LPs that we're lending to PancakeSwap. A couple weeks after launch, we're going to be starting to lend out single asset, uh, so like BNB and BUSD, to another institution, which will allow us to earn an additional 15-20% APY on capital that otherwise would just be sitting in our platform. But we're actually utilizing it to earn cash flow by providing services to other platforms, other fully decentralized, fully trustless platforms. So it's a low risk model that we're earning additional yield, right? So we're gonna add additional institutions that we're doing collateralized lending to, but also we're going to introduce an individual lending model. And what that will do is allow people to take out an individual loan based on their collateral in the farm. So they stake $100 worth of BUSD in the farm. They will be able to take out a a partial loan based on a fraction of their stake in the farm. And I don't want to go into the details of it because I don't want to give competition any of our ideas, right? But it's going to be massive, right? It's going to be the first fully decentralized lending model that services all of DeFi. This isn't just going to service our platforms. It's going to allow virtually everybody that wants to provide collateral to a token and anybody that wants to lend tokens to this collateral or wants to lend capital to this collateral will be able to do that. And the interest that the people pay on the loan is relative to how many lenders there are and how much collateral there is. So it's fully scalable in that way. And this is going to be massive, right? And then insurance. I essentially want to create the first sort of version of FDIC, but for DeFi, where people can opt in to an insurance model that is basically securing a percentage of their principal, not just in Animal Farm, but in other top DeFi platforms. Uh, in case there is ever something where capital is lost on these platforms, some of their principal is protected by this insurance model. So next year, uh that's good. That's the vision, right? That's the long-term vision for Animal Farm. Moving from collateral institutional lending to individual lending, and an insurance model. So there's the game theory and the logic to this have already been worked out. It's like nothing else that exists in DeFi. I'm confident that no one else is going to be able to develop this in the time, like because we have the most skilled development team and we have the community for when we do something. It has the ability to be a first mover because it gets that attention and it gets the adoption needed to be a first mover. So that's the long term vision, and that's what I feel is lacking in DeFi: actual projects that provide real utility. And I think how we can provide real utility is by looking at traditional markets and looking where the demand is, looking what products people are actually using, and then recreating that utilizing a decentralized network and a decentralized protocol that makes it trustless and brings in all of the game theory that we love. So everything that I do from this point on is going to be products that service all of DeFi and scale, and products that we really need, products that provide real utility. And Animal Farm is the first step in that direction, really, as far as taking a utility that is very popular in centralized institutions and making it available to the everyday user in the form of a lending model. And we're just going to further continue to develop that. And every time I develop one of these major utilities, they will first be servicing our platforms as a proof of concept, and then we will spread out to the other DeFi platforms. So that's the long-term vision. It's extremely, extremely bullish, right? The way that I think a couple things that are preventing real big money from entering DeFi is the fact that the super wealthy do not sell their assets to secure profit. When you sell your assets, you're for one creating a taxable event, which is something the super wealthy never want to do. And also you're you're making your profile, your asset profile smaller, which is something you never want to do. You always want to be increasing your profile and increasing your asset holdings of strong fundamental products while earning a dividend on them and securing a profit in the form of a dividend, or leveraging them to earn cash flow off them, or a combination of the two, which is what Animal Farm is allowing the user to do. And we're the only platform that allows the user to do that. And when we introduce individual lending, it takes it to the next level because it allows them to get a loan based off of a holding in collateral. So they do not create a taxable event for realizing profit essentially. And the other thing that I think is missing that is kind of preventing big capital from coming in a sense is proper insurance models. And these are the two things that we'll be tackling next year, and they're going to be a big part of Animal Farm. A lot of the things that are needed to do this, Animal Farm already has. So uh, it's going to be big, guys. And you can invest in it right now by buying the Animal Farm Pig token and securing your share ownership of the platform. And as I said earlier, no matter what the market conditions are, there's one class of people that are always profiting, and that's the owners and founders of these major first mover platforms with strong utility and strong fundamentals. And that's what Animal Farm has. And for the first time, the participants can earn as owners. And this is going to grow. This is going to be something that we're going to be developing for years. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to get in now as an owner before it goes live on the 18th. That way, on the 18th, when all of this dividends start being generated through the transaction of dogs, through the deposit withdrawal fees, through the back end lending, you already have a big position in there ready to go in the pigpen, in our governance protocol. So the dog pound starts off with an auto compounding model. So when you get your dog tokens, you can put them in the dog pound. And if you get into the auto compounding dog pound, you're reducing your tax by 1% a day while earning B&B from the transaction of dogs. That B&B that you're earning, half of it gets used to buy dogs, paired with the B&B and put into the dog's B&B master chef to earn pigs. So you're earning compound interest in both B&B and dogs and pigs while you're reducing your tax. And just because that B&B is going into an LP does not mean it's not accessible to you. At any point, you can decide to unpair those dogs B&B. You pay a 6% fee, but all of that B&B now becomes available to you. Now, you can also get into the non-auto compounding dog pound. You'll reduce your tax by 0.75% a day, and the B&B that you're earning just goes into a vault that's available for you to claim. And the pig pen starts off with only non-auto compounding, but shortly after launch, we're going to introduce an auto compounding model into the pig pen as well, which will allow you to earn compound interest in both pigs and BUSD. There's no other platform that's allowing you to earn a sustainable BNB and BUSD dividend. Never mind a sustainable BNB and BUSD dividend utilizing compound interest. I mean, that's extremely powerful. And there's one other platform that I know of that was paying out a Bitcoin dividend. But the thing is, the way that they were generating this Bitcoin dividend was just by people would buy their token, they would sell their own tokens to buy Bitcoin and then pay out a percentage of this Bitcoin while claiming the rest as founders. And of course, what happens in that case, your token just bleeds out, and the Bitcoin that you're paying out is not actually coming from some sort of cash flow. It's not coming from some other utility which is actually generating value. So that's unsustainable. Our model is creating these different dividends in BNB and BUSD through providing real utility that is really generating profit, and also a innovative incentive structure which is incentivizing people to take their profit in the form of a BNB and BUSD rather than selling their tokens to earn this profit. And when you combine this incentive structure with the supply control algorithm, which is restricting the supply and allowing it to become deflationary in times of low demand, and increasing the emission rate to the high end of sustainable in times of high demand, you're incentivizing people to lock up the tokens when a lot of people are buying it, and you're restricting the supply at times of low demand. And this is why animal farm pigs and animal farm dogs are designed to be the highest price performing yield generating assets ever created. And I'm confident that we're going to see amazing performance from this platform. So, thank you so much for having me come on. People can go to animalfarm.app and visit the site. And
Check them
also, I'm
out.
sure we'll have our social media in the details and all that. And I encourage
Exactly.
people to join.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thanks to all of you guys, okay, who are on the chat. Um, it is absolutely incredible that we managed to break some records of my channel. The fact that we had over 11,000 people watching this AMA is just, mind blowing to me. Check them out. All
Yeah.
the links will be plugged down below. If we didn't answer some of the questions, because, well, obviously it isn't possible to answer every single one, right? You guys can check them out on socials. Well, as I said, and as Forex said, everything will be down below in the description. Join the Telegram here. I will post it on chat for you just now. You can still ask him some questions. You will be responding to people on Telegram too, right?
Yeah, I'll go with the Telegram. There's a few moderators and admins there that will help
Cool.
field questions, and I'll be in there as well. And I appreciate this opportunity, man. You can see the demand for this
Right,
asset
yeah.
and this platform just on the viewer alone. And
Absolutely.
this, we didn't really promote this interview too much, right? Because typically we like to do a premiere link and have it up for a couple days. And this was kind of more of a like we just got the link up right before launch
Right.
to get this kind of impact and viewer base. It's just a small percentage of the people that are actually like excited and waiting for this. And I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you allowing me to come on and speak to your audience. And I think you're doing a great service to them because you're actually bringing quality projects in front of them. And we should have a follow up shortly after launch, and then definitely before Scratchy, so we could talk about that.
That would be amazing. Sure, we will discuss that internally as well. So to all of you guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this AMA interview kind of thing. That's it for today. We will also have a few words after that about the numbers and everything, because I'm excited about the statistics. Just want to share it with you as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's it, guys. Thank you so much again. I hope you have a wonderful day. Evening, whatever it is for you. And yeah, see you guys
Yeah.
in the next streams and videos.